Thanks for tuning in to Dane's Desk. Today's topic is under attack, the American education system. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention or not, but the American education system has been under attack since the president-elect has become the president-elect. One of the mandates that is on the table is the abolishment of the Department of Education. And this has a lot of people obviously upset. A lot of people are in an uproar. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about the U.S. Department of Education. Obviously, we won't be able to get into a thorough history of the department as well as its impact on American citizens. So you're going to have to do that research on your own. We're just going to basically cover some broad strokes today and talk about, what we can do to get ahead and stay ahead of the pack. All right. So, again, under attack, the American education system. Let's talk about it. I was doing some research in addition to the whole H-1B visa fiasco. Obviously, there's multiple layers to it. And so, again, through that discussion, the education obviously is one of the topics that is brought up. But then when we do a little bit deeper research and dive into actually, the U.S. American educational system, we begin to learn some new things. So what I wanted to do is first talk about the problem in regards to, what the current, how America ranks, from an educational perspective globally. Because, again, we Americans, as well as just humans of the world, we love taking stats. We love keeping track of things. So one of the things that we can keep track of is, in this case, education. So let's talk about, where America stands from an education perspective. So I found a resource over at sahub.com, and it's just current U.S. educational rankings worldwide. So number one, U.S. ranks 13th in the world in global education. We like to believe as Americans that we are number one just because we feel like we're number one. But in this case, from an educational perspective, overall, on the global landscape, we are currently ranked 13. Now, we're ranked 13 based upon the entities that are responsible for these rankings. There's different governing bodies, different governing bodies and agencies and institutions that keep track of these things. And so, they all are going to have, their own ratings and they're going to use their own metrics. But again, for us, we just have to look at it as data and then identify the common denominators and the patterns in the data to get some sort of idea of what the data is saying to us. So in this case, we're just kind of put the pieces together. So as we see here, U.S. is ranked 13th in global education. America currently has 11 of the top 20 universities, Harvard being the leader. There's a strong emphasis on STEM fields and research. Within these, education, these universities specifically, international student enrollment from 2022 to 23 was up 14%. The U.S. graduation rates are at an all-time high at 87%. It says 52% of recent college graduates are underemployed a year after graduation, and 45% of graduates are not in degree-required jobs a decade later. So with that being said, one of the stats that sticks out to me the most is this: 52% of recent grads are underemployed a year after graduation. Another thing that stands out to me is how we have a strong emphasis on STEM fields and research, and how our international enrollment is continuing to rise, and as well as our U.S. graduation rates are continuing to rise. But something ain't right here. What's up, my brother? Something ain't right here. Because how is it that we as America, our educational system, on a global perspective, the American education system is pretty much viewed as a luxury to exotic vehicle in a sense. Not some, beater, not some bucket, not some economy vehicle, not even a full size vehicle. We are from a global perspective, we're viewed as, the upper echelon, the top of the top, tippity top, the best that there has to offer, even though we rank 13 globally. So again, how is it that our educational system is bolstered or propped up to be this great thing? Yet, when it comes to specifically, U.S. citizens and its graduates of this American educational system, over half are underemployed after graduation within a year of graduating from college, 52%, as it's saying, over half. So that means there's something not going on here. So either if we're underemployed, that means that, we usually have educational skill that's up here, but our job status is down here. But then, when we look at the STEM fields, we also hear that there's a shortage of available talent for the STEM fields. Yet we have half of college graduates underemployed. So in my mind of minds, that has me thinking like, well, okay, we have people going to college. We have, citizens that are graduating from college. They're getting degrees in non-STEM fields. Business, I believe, was the most popular, degree for the most part. Basically a non-STEM, but they're getting a business degree or something of the like, something in humanities or something in arts. But again, they're underemployed, but we have a shortage in STEM talent. So we're recruiting from overseas foreign talent to come in and fill these positions. So again, it's just like, well, like you said, something ain't right there, because how is it that, we're ranked, these high rankings, relatively speaking, we have the top universities, but we're not producing the top talent. Think about it. Like, how is that? How is that? How do we have the, some of the best universities in the world, but, our graduates of these institutions are still underemployed. So that means something's not working properly, or something, some dots aren't connecting to ensure that, the American citizens that are graduating from this American education system are properly equipped with the skills and knowledge for jobs of the future. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe the problem is that we are still operating off of an outdated curriculum. We're using a curriculum for a job market that necessarily doesn't exist anymore. That could be the problem. Who knows? That's what we're here to talk about and figure out. So again, as we see, we're ranked where we're ranked globally when it comes to education. But again, how is it that, we have all these top educations, these top institutions, they're focused on STEM, but we're still not producing as much STEM talent as we can? Because again, when I'm saying as much as we can, that's what I'm talking about. Again, there's the message, the conversation, what are American citizens talking about when it comes to their future career aspirations? That's what I mean by it's we're not doing a good job, or, there's some dots not connected here, because when we look at what careers are Gen Z talking about the most on Instagram. So Gen Z, and we have Gen Alpha, now we got Gen Beta. So now we're basically talking about 2 generations ago. Who are basically representing the kids in college, graduating right about now, graduating high school, in college, and graduating college. Like, that's pretty much Gen Z right now. So what are their, career ambitions? What are their career aspirations? As far as what they're talking about on Instagram via Newsweek. And we see here again, the top 3: model, artist, photographer. Honorable mention, number 4, makeup artist, number 5, blogger. So them is the top 5, career career aspirations that Gen Z is talking about, and as we see, none of them are STEM. So again, there has to be some disconnect here, ladies and gentlemen. How is it that we have these top universities again, and again we are saying that the emphasis is on STEM fields and research, yet somehow the American citizen isn't getting that message, because again, the Gen Z, the careers they're talking about going into, they're talking about doing model, artist, and photographer. So how can we maintain our competitive edge when it comes to technology and innovation as America and American citizens if we're not even preparing, the next generation or future generations of kids to be, STEM learners, to be in the fields that they're gonna need to be in to have the skills and resources required in order to solve the problems of the future. How can we do that as a country, if we're not even getting kids focused on those types of fields, of study moving forward. So again, there has to be, there has to be some level of disconnect here, ladies and gentlemen. There has to be, some missing link because, oh, what's up, my brother? There has to be some missing link because, again, how is it that American education ranks as high as it does, yet, we still have recent college grads that are underemployed at more than half, you know what I'm saying? Again, we have an emphasis on STEM again, but, we're not producing STEM learners. We're not producing STEM innovators. We're not producing, the STEM professionals at the rate in which, we're going to need to maintain our competitive advantage, in America. So, again, I know that we are producing some STEM talent, but again, is it enough? Is it going to, and then again, is it going to be enough, to fill, the needs and to solve the challenges of the future? Because I don't know about you guys, but from what I'm seeing, again, we're moving away from analog systems and we're moving away from manual labor. We're moving away from those things and into more of a tech-driven, digital-driven, economic system. So the demands of the economy are going to be for individuals who can fulfill those types of roles into the future. So, and by the future, I'm talking about 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years from now. So we have to start now to make sure that these future generations of kids are going to be prepared, for the future that they're going to be living in. Not the future that we think, they should be living in based upon what's happened in the past. Because, again, that's what we're familiar with. So a lot of this is operating from the unknown. It is operating from something that doesn't exist. We're inventing a future. We're recreating something that happened in the past in the future. We're literally starting from something new. And in order to make that happen, again, we're going to have to make some changes as Americans. So let's talk about solutions. What is it that we can do? How can we, what steps can we take as individual citizens, not waiting on the government or any other, institutions to come fix this problem for us, it is our duty, it is our responsibility to fix this, because again, we are the people. So what can we as the people do? To the solution, I recommend that we take the resolve. I agree. The resolve I believe we should pursue as American citizens is to start STEM education early. So when it comes to education, we have in America, our system is basically broken down into 5 stages. We have early education, which is, your 0 to, kindergarten, preschool, stuff like that. Then we have elementary. Then we have junior/middle school. Then we have high school. And then last but not least, we have college, university. So we have 5 stages. Now, typically, we don't introduce, the average American student or the average American, student typically doesn't really get ever exposed to STEM, to be perfectly honest with you. As far as the system is concerned, because again, we don't really start introducing STEM topics, maybe in high school, and in college if they major in that. But again, as far as just a mandate for kids to have these STEM skills, there is no mandate. There was once upon a time in America. I saw this on the Twitterverse earlier, but it was talking about how once upon a time in America, we strived, as American citizens, we strive to be the best. We strive to be the best in regards to math and science. I believe it was prior to actually the creation of the Department of Education, which was basically roughly around the 79, 80, which is what was that? I believe they said it was Jimmy Carter, and they were saying basically, the reason why that was even created was kind of like payback for the teachers union supporting Jimmy Carter's bid for president. It's like payback, but again, so about 79, 80, that's when, the concept of the American educational system changed, because again, we went from making kids career ready to the average American, citizen and student being career ready to now the shift pivoted to making them academically ready for college or college ready. So we went from focusing on developing real world skills to now just developing academic skills. And that was the shift. So that's why things like, wood shop, home ec, that's why those types of things were taken out of the American educational system and replaced with things like, standardized testing, preparation. Because again, the focus went away from, career skill ready to college ready, because that's what the Department of Education said. And I believe I forgot the name of the report, but one of the first reports that they put out within the first 3 years of their existence basically said that the problem with American education was that there was low standardized test scores. Specifically, I believe it was the SAT score. But what they didn't take into consideration was pretty much prior to the formation of the Department of Education and their readjusting the education system, standardized tests like the SAT was primarily taken by, affluent individuals. So, I believe what they stated, rich kids. But when they opened it up to everybody, obviously now you have more people taking it. That obviously, made it appear like the scores went down, but the scores didn't necessarily go down. It's just more people got added to the pool, which brought the score down to what it was previously. But that dip made the Department of Education hypothesize and basically stand on the point that, the problem with American education is, we don't focus enough on preparing the kids for, standardized tests that they're going to need to get into college. So that's what we need to do. We need to focus on making sure that these kids are prepared to take these standardized tests. And then that's where we're at moving forward. But again, what has that done? Like, what impact has that had? Again, we're 13th. But when it comes specifically to topics like math and science and reading, we're like in the 20s, you know what I'm saying? From a global perspective. So we're nowhere close to being number one when it comes to education. So as American citizens, we have to stop believing that because we feel like we're great, that we are great, especially when it comes to education, just because we feel educated, just because we feel like we have obtained these degrees from these, in some instances, these top universities, albeit that they are. When we look at the big picture, the country, not our individual, situations, but overall, from a global perspective, America is not number one. So we can do something about that, ladies and gentlemen. And as again, my solution to that is we got to start STEM early. So to bring it back home, to wrap it all up, we got to start STEM. We got to start STEM early, in the early education stage of American citizens' education. So we're going to do that, by stop waiting until college or high school to get kids into STEM. Because again, if we're talking to global, these kids, our future, Gen Beta, Gen Alpha, they're going to be, their playing field is going to be a global one. So again, it's not just American no more, ladies and gentlemen. Like, we got to prepare these American kids to compete on the global landscape. And again, kids in other countries, they're starting their STEM educations like in the early education stage. You feel me? Like, they're starting it. They're not waiting till college. They're not waiting to high school. They're not prioritizing their kids having these fun memories where they're going to Disneyland, they're going on vacations, they're getting every little toy and trinket that they want because, again, they're kids, so we have to make sure they enjoy and have a good time. And we'll worry about school and career and stuff, when they become an adult. Yeah, exactly. STEM needs to be number one, just overall, though. Like, not like that has to be the default. You feel me? Like, STEM needs to be the default because, again, the problems of the future are going to be STEM related. They're not going to be, a breakdown in the arts, a breakdown in social sciences in regards to again, infrastructure problems. Again, we gotta make sure that these kids is prepared for the careers that keep the world running. So infrastructure, again, science, technology, engineering, math. So they're gonna need to be able to fix roads, build bridges, build power plants, alternative energies, all that kind of stuff. Healthcare, medicine, like that's the kind of stuff that we got to start getting American kids focused on early in the educational stages. Like, not waiting until they're in high school, college, after they've had basically their whole childhood to think about, quote unquote, what they want to be when they grow up. Again, we have to start molding these aspirations early, and often when they're little knee high, as we like to say. That's when we got to start. Because, again, if we wait too long, then again they're already behind the kids, and again we talking about the Japanese, we're talking about China, we're talking about India, we're talking about these European countries. You feel me? Like those are going to be our kids' competition. You feel me? American kids and these future generations, that's going to be their competition. So if they start in STEM early and we wait until high school, college, then our kids are already decades behind. And the American student is going to be behind. So let's make sure we get them ahead of the pack, as we like to say. So how do we do that? We have to start being our kids' primary educators as adult American citizens. It is our duty, it is our responsibility to start getting them geared and focused on STEM. Because, again, if we as the adults are prioritizing, what I'm saying, we spend this time planning out fun activities. Let's go to Magic Mountain, let's go to Disneyland, let's go to the John's Incredible Pizza. We planning birthday parties. Every month is somebody's birthday. Every holiday we planning holidays, Christmas. We putting a lot of energy and effort into making sure that we're planning for these kids to have fun. But are we, planning to make sure that they are learning the skills and knowledge that's going to be required for the jobs and problems of the future and opportunities of the future? Are we doing that? And in my opinion, no. We can do a better job. We can always do better. So we can do better by taking that responsibility of being these kids' primary educators seriously, and not just trying to outsource, these kids' educations to the American education system and thinking and believing that because, this is the American education system, that, it has the kids' best interests in heart, and that the curriculum and the system is designed to produce kids with the real world skills that they're going to need in order to thrive in these future, economy, and in this future economy that they're going to grow up in. Because, again, like I said before, the mandate pivoted from making sure that they had these real world skills to solve real world problems to making sure that they had now these academic skills just to pass standardized tests. So, again, everything right now in the American education system is geared and designed just to making sure that the kids pass standardized tests to get into college. So our education isn't even preparing kids to secure their own futures in regards to making sure they have the legit knowledge, skills, and resources to do so. Again, no, it's just geared toward them being able to understand how to pass these standardized tests. And again, the results are in. Because, again, if our educational system in America was focused on producing top talent, especially top talent in STEM, then our science, math, and reading rankings wouldn't be as low as they were. So they're not high, they're low. So we got to bump that up, all right? So, again, we got to start exposing these kids to STEM early. And even if you're not in STEM as a parent, even if there's necessarily nobody in your immediate circle that's in the STEM, there's still things you can do to expose your kids to STEM. Again, part of it is just paying attention to the world around you. So every day, there's something STEM related. Especially in this point from the technology, we all using these devices, smartphones, laptops, tablets, all that kind of stuff. We have it right there, but again, it's just about us changing the narrative when we talk. So it's no longer more so about just giving these kids, let's just say, a smartphone and it just being a smartphone, a device that we use to distract them from us, from being a burden to us and where we want to go. No, let's start taking it to the next level. So again, we know that the smartphone, we don't like playing games. So how about you just, hey, little Tommy, hey, little Samantha, that you can make your own games. Oh, I can? Yeah, like all these games are just a form of software, and you can do this. So there are programs right now that will teach kids how to build games, and I'm talking about 5, 6, 7-year, 8-year-old kids. It will teach them how to do that. But again, if you as a parent aren't even, guiding them down that path, then they're never going to know. So again, we have to do more of we have to do a better job as the adults in guiding these kids down the STEM path. And part of our us doing that is, like I said, showing them the way. And again, video games is something that's simple. Again, a lot of kids love these games. They got these tablets, but again, it's just about us explaining to them, hey, you can learn how to do that, right? And letting go of our ego or feeling that because we don't know how to do it or we've never done it, that our kid can't do it, because that's not the case. We just got to expose them to it. So again, there's science, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're outside, going to the park, the sand, like this is the dirt, you know what I'm saying? There's just so many opportunities just to start exposing kids to STEM early. And we just have to, like I said, just be a lot more mindful about this stuff as an adult and understand that our job isn't to be the hero of our kid's story. The kid is the hero of their story. Our job is to be the guide in our kid's story. So we're just here to guide them along the way. We're not here to be the hero that slays the dragon. We're here to be the guide that puts that, gives them the idea, i.e. that sword that they now are going to use to slay the dragons in their lives. All right. So again, we do that. Again, we got to stop. To do that, we have to stop. We have to get them exposed or get them started in STEM. All these kids, especially, again, we got Gen Beta now. So now, like when they first start talking, and even as they're starting to learn how to talk, they're learning their ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. They're learning even these basic things. We can still start exposing them to it by shifting the narrative. So instead of, again, A being for Apple, A, we got to figure out, A being, some STEM related. So some science, technology, engineering, or math, you know what I'm saying? Like, or Apple, it could be Apple for science. But then, like I said, we got to, let's talk about what an apple is from a scientific perspective. You know what I'm saying? What are the science? And again, you don't have to be the expert, parent, uncle, auntie, grandparent. You don't have to be the expert. You just have to be the guide. And then go out and find the tools that are out there, the resources that are out there, and just make sure your kid sits down for X amount of time a day and do it. Because that's going to be the key right there, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be just about, us picking a topic and us picking a topic and then like, all right, you're going to stay. It's about us being able to have a system to keep track of this. And so what I propose is either a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2 ratio when it comes to screen time and fun time. So again, we're talking about outside of, compulsory schooling, so wherever school they go to or they go have to start going to when they start going to school, wherever you starting them out, like we talking about separate from that. We're talking about between this, but you as the parent, what are you teaching your child? What are you ensuring that they know? That's what we're talking about. So when it comes to that, again, you as the parent or the guardian or the aunt, the uncle, whoever, again, you use what you got. So we know a kid wants screen time to play video games, to watch YouTube, whatever it is they want to do. They want that. So screen time is what they want. That's their candy, their sugar. So we have to use that to our advantage now as a parent. And how do we do that? Or the leader or the guardian, how do we do that? Again, what I propose we do is we set up a 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 ratio screen time to learn time. So again, if the kid wants, for example, 30 minutes of screen time, on a 1-to-1 perspective, that means they got to put in 30 minutes of learning time. 1-to-2 would mean they have to put in an hour of learning time. So for every 30 minutes of screen time, they would have to either, spend 30 minutes in learn time or an hour in learn time. And then that's how you dispense and regulate it, parent, guardian, uncle, auntie, whoever, whatever adult is in charge of this. That's how you keep it going, because again, we have to make it make sense for the kid as well. Cause again, they're still human. So it's like, we still got to work with them. And so again, that's how we do it. In my opinion, that's what we can do. We can leverage fun time and screen time. We can leverage their screen time for fun by making sure that they put in some learning time on top of that screen time. So again, if you know your kid is going to have quote unquote 2 free hours a day, then and typically they spend all 2 hours of that on the tablet or the smartphone anyway, or playing the video games, Xbox or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like you just gotta be mindful as a parent and then know, like, okay, well, so again, if you 1-to-1, so if all right, son, daughter, you gonna have to spend, an hour, studying the STEM topic, so you can earn an hour of fun screen time, whether it's playing video games on a console, on a tablet, or watching YouTube or Netflix, whatever it is. That's how we can start making them pay for it in a sense. You got to put that learning time in. That's how you earn how do you earn your screen time? You earn it through playing, putting in that learning time. All right. And again, think about it. And this is every day. You feel me? Like, if this is what we got the kids going on every day from the early stages of education, again, when they're little kids, because again, we want to establish these habits when they're little, so as they're growing up and aging, ultimately it gets to a point where they're just naturally doing these things. You know what I'm saying? That their natural default decisions and is to study these things or to put some time into these things. Again, they will naturally learn how to figure this out. But again, as mom and dad, you just have to, again, especially early in the beginning, you just got to be on top of it and making sure that they're putting that work in. But again, that's how you make it happen. All right. So before we move on to action, again, I have a vision that I want to share with you guys that I believe is going to help us produce, these kids that, this future that we want. So my vision for the future is that we are going to create an atmosphere and environment that produces future generations of American citizens with real-world STEM skills to maintain the country's competitive edge in innovation and technology, so that they are capable of meeting future challenges that keep the world running. So that's my vision for why I'm doing all this and why we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing. All right. So let's get after it, ladies and gentlemen. Last but not least, talking about some action. So how do we actually, like I said, where does the rubber meet the road in this case? The action. So here's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to pick a STEM skill for ourselves, for the kids, whoever. So if you got if you got 2-3 kids, either they go all study, let's just say electrical engineering, or they all go study, medicine, or they all go study math, or they all go study computing. Or you got 4 kids, one is go study something in science, let's just say, physics. One is going to study something in technology, computing. One is going to study some engineering, electrical. Someone go study something in mathematics. We'll say derivatives, stats, something. But again, let's actually switch physics and science to medicine. So again, you pick what you want. You pick what it is. Either you pick it, just this is what it is. So that's what I'm saying. As a parent, this is what it is. Like, my kids is going to be this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you pick it, or if as little Johnny is growing up and you begin to notice that little Johnny, or he's coming up to you or she's coming up to you saying like, you just notice they have an affinity for science. You notice they have an affinity for technology. You notice they have an affinity for engineering based upon, how things are built, how they're structured and work. Where you just see that they like numbers and they're, good with math. If you just start noticing little things like that about them, then like I said, start guiding them in that direction. If again, you take them to the park a lot and, you just notice that they always picking up leaves and they're always curious and they always ask you questions about stuff. They're inquisitive about nature, then that's something science related. So get them involved in science. Biology, for example, like start early. Because again, we pick a topic. Once we pick that topic, and we go to step number 2, which is now we have to find, again, tap into some coursework that's going to teach them these things. And one of the best platforms to make that happen is Khan Academy. So we pick the STEM topic. Let's just say in this case, something involved with healthcare and medicine, health and medicine. Now, okay, we download Khan Academy, go to the science section, and then we go specifically to the medicine and healthcare section. Boom. Then it's like, let's just say 8 to 10 modules in that. And so then now you just, little Johnny or little Samantha, that's what they study on a day-to-day basis. Again, we start, another layer of the 1-to-1 ratio or the 1-to-2 ratio as far as how much time they put in on a day-to-day basis. To start, shouts out Sean August, we're going to start off with just like everything else, the 2-minute rule. So again, for 2 minutes, you just start with them. Get them started for 2 minutes, and then you just start bumping up the time. But because eventually, again, the goal is to eventually get them just to start doing this on their own. But again, we have to start small. So we start small with 2 minutes. And again, in the beginning, it might just be you and them for 2 minutes watching the video and then just talking about it. Because a lot of this stuff on Khan Academy is either articles or videos that you just watch or just have to read. So again, if it is going to be science and healthcare in this case in medicine, then that's all you got to do. You just got to get them started. Again, reading the articles that for that specific module, or just looking at the videos, and just start for 2 minutes and then have conversation with the kid about it. And also, too, once they start getting older and they start doing these things on their own, you're still going to have to keep track as well. So my recommendation there would be some sort of weekly, at a bare minimum, a weekly check-in. Ideally, you want to talk to them about this stuff daily, but on a bare minimum, for you literally have a sit down, a meeting with the child. Like, hey, all right, little Johnny or Samantha, where are we at with your STEM education? Where are you at in your coursework? And then they'll tell you, I learned this week, and or what do you talk to me about it? Because again, you don't got to be the expert, you just got to talk to them. That's what I've learned, you know what I'm saying? Like, because again, the kid's mind will figure it out on their own. But again, we just got to start guiding them in the direction so that they can start to figure it out on their own. All right. So that's it. When it comes to taking action, we pick a STEM topic. We download an app like Khan Academy, and then we sign up, we get logged in. Again, it's free. So we get logged in, and then we go to pick your topic, and then boom, you just start knocking out the coursework. And I would encourage you to at least start them off with 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day. So the bare minimum 2 minutes today to get started, but eventually you want to get from 2 minutes to at least 30 minutes a day, then from 30 minutes and then beyond. And again, we leverage the screen time. So if your kid got 4 hours and, they typically spend 4 hours on that screen, then again, either do 1-to-1 or 1-to-2. So if they want 2 hours of screen time, then they got to put in 2 hours of learning time. That's 1 for 1. All right. Or 1 for 2 for every 1 hour of screen time. Fun time, screen time. They got to put in 2 hours of learning time. The choice is yours, parents. Like, again, start small, go up to big. So again, pick the STEM topic, download Khan Academy on their tablets, on their smartphone, and then check in weekly for progress, just to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And like I said, you're having a conversation with them about it. And it's just that simple. So on that note, let's wrap things up. We've been talking about, today's topic, under attack, the American education system, and how, again, the American education system doesn't seem to be working for Americans because, again, how is it that, we are producing, or how is it that America, is ranked where it's ranked in? From the world perspective, they view our educational system as, a luxury vehicle. But as far as American citizens are concerned, within a year of graduating, they're underemployed, more than half. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem. So we got to figure out how to fix that underemployment problem. Because, again, how can we be producing all these college graduates that are underemployed, but we still have a shortage in talent when it comes specifically to STEM? And again, but that shortage of talent in STEM is also a byproduct of the fact that when our specific ratings, when it comes to science, when it comes to math, and when it comes to reading, we're low, on the totem pole. We're not as great as we think we are. We're actually down at the bottom. So we got to figure it out. We as the American citizens, again, we got to take a stand for extreme ownership, and we have to stand for this. We have to stand for being the primary educator to make sure that we are preparing our kids for a future that they are going to have to operate within, not a future that we have to operate in. All right. So again, our solution, we got to start the kids in STEM early. So we want to start in the early stages of our American educational system, not the latter, which is waiting till the kid gets to high school or university. And again, I'm not talking about, the gifted kids or the talented kids or the smart kids. I'm talking about just the average American student. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to get them up. So stop waiting to college to introduce them to STEM. We got to be the kids' primary educators, and we got to expose them to STEM early. The last but not least, action. Now that we know what the problem is, we know what the solution is. Now it's time to take action. What's that action? We got to pick a STEM topic, download Khan Academy, have them start off with 2 minutes to work up to 30 minutes, then 30 minutes and beyond. But every day they got to check in. They got to do something, study a lesson. You talk to them about what they're learning throughout the week. And at a bare minimum, meet with them once a week to check in and see where they're at. All right. And again, 18 years, at a bare minimum of 18 years of this, I'm guarantee you, we're going to have kids in position to have these real world STEM skills that they're going to need to be prepared for the challenges of the future. So again, I'll leave with the vision. Again, the vision here is we want to create an atmosphere and environment that produces future generations of American citizens with real world STEM skills to maintain the country's competitive edge and innovation and technology so that they are capable of meeting future challenges that keep the world running. All right. I'm here to help. Right now, your homework, ladies and gentlemen, go and download Khan Academy and get your kid pick a topic for your kid and get them started. All right. Let me know if you got any questions. Use the comment section below. Join the conversation. Peace.